while we were away last week visiting our children in Sydney, I was working on the rest of my squares for the Year of Granny Squares Cal, and I finished all of them. So there was 52 squares, but I made an extra 4. Extra 4? Was it 6? Sorry, 52. Yeah, an extra 4 to make up the 56 so that it would get, you know, the square of a blanket. So that was one of my extra ones there. And then I think I did this one for autumn. And then there's a blue, pale blue one at the top for spring. And the winter one, what did I do extra for that? I think I did the purple one up the top there, just a plain purple one. So I tried so many different ways of laying this blanket out, laying the squares out before I sewed it together. As you can see, I've already stitched it together. I'm just starting to work on the border now there. I tried so many different ways. I alternated them, sort of had like summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring. Did that way. Then I did like 2 rows of summer, 2 rows of autumn, winter, spring. And I randomly did them, but no matter how I placed them, I just wasn't happy with the autumn ones being too close to the spring ones, because the autumn ones, you've got those vibrant, strong colours there, autumn colours, and then the soft pastels up there of spring, and they just clashed. In my mind anyway, they just clashed. So what I ended up deciding, I had pieces of paper, I was drawing up all different types of configurations, and what I decided on in the end, even though it sort of looks, like bright up here and light up there, is that these first 12 squares here are summer, and then I've got 2 summer in the middle. These 2 are the spare ones. There's 14 squares altogether for each season. Actually, there was, I think, 13 squares for each season, and then the extra 4 made up 14 squares for each season. So yeah, I've done 12 summer, 12 autumn, 12 for winter, 12 for spring, and then through the centre I've done 2 summer, 2 autumn, 2 winter, 2 spring, just to sort of divide it. And then there was quite a few plain ones with just the one colour. So I've sort of done 3 for summer going that way, from this corner 3 for autumn going that way, the 3 plain ones coming in from the right hand top corner for winter, and spring on the left there. There's pink, purple and another pink one. So that's sort of given it some sort of consistency in my mind anyway. So I'm happy with that. It's a very, very bright blanket. It's not something I can see decorating my house, but I'll see. I've got this beautiful sunroom out here, so I might actually display it on one of my lounges. And I had my crochet group here yesterday, and one of the ladies suggested, why don't you lay it on an angle that way, and then you can change it each season, so you could have like the rest of the blanket over the lounge and you see summer, and then you come over this way, you've got your autumn, and then your winter and spring, and sort of change the blanket around to display the colours of that season. So yeah, I thought that was a really nice idea, so I might try that. So I did actually block all the squares, but they're going to need blocking. The whole blanket will need blocking again. I'll probably wash it and then block it, just to keep them, just to spread them out. Some of them are a bit more textured than others, like you've got, even that one's got a little raised section, but you've got the ones with the flowers. There's a couple there, spring, that are sort of like a 3D, another one up the top there. And then you've got your ones like winter, popcorn stitches and raised stitches there. Right up the top, third from the top right, you've got the popcorn, like little snowballs. And there's some more popcorn ones here. Then autumn, you've got some popcorn ones. So they sort of make the other squares buckle a little bit when you sew them together. But I've worked out a border of 27 stitches every side. So I have kept that consistent, even though when we followed the patterns in the book, some of the squares are actually smaller. And I think there was one square, I don't remember which one that was now. I thought it was a spring or summer one that wasn't actually square, but anyway, I squared it off somehow. I figured out how to square it off, but I don't remember now which square it was. I'd have to look at the book again. But yeah, like even this one up here, that one is a bit buckling, and that one, so maybe, you know, my tension was a bit looser when I made them. But once I block them and stretch them all out, they should be fine. Yeah, they should all lay nice and flat. This whole section lies beautiful and flat, so does summer. And so then what I've decided with the border, I'm going to try this. I don't know whether this is what I'll end up with, but I've done 1 row of half double crochet in the back stitch loop for the border first, right around. And then I've made this scallop along the side there. And I'm thinking that is sort of like little sunshines. So they will be summer. And I may even do another row up there, like the, you know, the spikes of the sun coming out. Do something there for summer. So 2 rows for summer. Then I'll do maybe a feather stitch or a leaf. Maybe I'm thinking this sort of like this pattern sort of looks like leaves. I'll somehow work out to do a row of that for autumn. And then I thought for winter I'll do some of these little bobbles or popcorns, or maybe like a little snowflake or something if I find a pattern for that. And then for spring, to end it off, some sort of little flower edge or something right at the other side. So I want quite a nice wide border, so it'll probably be about maybe 8 to 10 centimetres, which is what, like about 3-inch border. Yeah, I do like having a nice wide border. I bought this yarn, so the sheep's Catona is what I used for my squares, because it does have a really nice shine to it, this cotton. I did look at the Spotlight, is it Motivera or is it Four Seasons cottons that we have here in our big yarn store in Australia, but they're a little bit more dull. Yeah, I don't think I used any of them on this blanket, but they are a little bit more dull. Even this one, you can see hasn't got quite that same shine as the Scheepjes Catona. I never know how to say Scheepjes or Scheepjes cotton. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't want to mix cotton, so I just got all of the Catona for the squares, but I don't mind having just a bit more of a not shiny border and in between as well. So I bought a whole lot of these when they were on sale a few weeks ago from Spotlight. So I've got enough to do a really nice wide border and to join them also in between, and I bought it each square. And so then how I did my joins, you can see it's got sort of like a little pattern there. All right, so I actually joined the squares from the back and with just a single crochet and a chain 1. So you sort of do from the back, single crochet, chain 1, and sort of miss 1 stitch and do a single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. And then on this side, that's how it looks. I was actually going to do like the V connecting stitch that I've done on some of my cushions and other blankets. I tried it. I just wasn't really happy with the openness of it, because I think the squares have enough holes and openness on them already. So yeah, I actually really like that. And then in the corners, they just sort of join up with a little square there. So yeah, it looks a bit floppy at the moment, but I will show you probably in the next video how it looks once it's all washed and blocked and the border is finished. But I just wanted to share that with you today. So yeah, 12 summer, 12 winter, autumn, winter, spring, and then you've got your extra 4 squares through the middle there. Yep. And I had enough of the plain ones, as I said, to go up 3 either side, and then the last one I did 1 summer one there and a winter one or a spring one up the top there for the plain ones. So let me know what you think, how it's looking. And yes, as I said, very colourful. It's probably the most colourful thing I've ever made. A Year of Granny Squares by Kylie Moleta. That's the book that I've worked from for that blanket, and it goes through all the 4 seasons. So the Crochetalong is still actually running. I think there's 1 more week of the autumn squares, and I think it's week 39 we're up to this week. Done Monarch. Actually, I think it's this one, Hedgerow Berries. So row 38, square 38. 39 is Coreopsis, and then it starts into the winter squares. So as I said, we did go on holidays for 10 days down to see our children, so I had plenty of time to do a square a day, and I just thought I'm just going to finish it off because I've got something coming up in June that is going to take quite a bit of my time, and so I probably won't be able to get the squares done each week then. So I thought I'd just crochet ahead and finish it, and then once my squares were finished, I was just really excited to join them together and start making them into a blanket. So yeah, it's been a really nice crochet along. I really enjoyed it. Some of the squares have been more challenging. Some of them that I didn't think would be challenging, actually. Like that one with the raised flowers, I didn't find that so hard because I have actually done that before. But there was one square, and it was quite a simple one. It was an autumn one. It was that one, Sparks, where you had to crochet those as you go, but I just couldn't do it. So I ended up embroidering them on later. I think that's that one there. I may have shown you once before in my last video. Yeah, so you can see that's a little bit different to how it's supposed to look. That's the crocheted version, and there I've just embroidered them on afterwards after I've crocheted all the rows. So that's the only sort of cheap one that I've had. So that one was a bit of a challenge, and then I didn't find any of the this one I actually found this quite challenging too, that one there, Bonfire, because you have to carry the yarn at the back. So like you do the brown and then you just do one stitch of red and then you've got to carry it around and around. And I just found my square was pulling a little bit, so I think I did it a few times. And then also this looks so tidy, like you can't see any other colours coming through, but in mine, where's my one? Here. Actually, it's not too bad, but you can see there I've got my stitch, but you can see a little bit of the, can you see that? A little bit of the brown coming through between the dark red ones. And in the book it doesn't, so I don't know. Yeah, I sort of followed exactly the pattern, but I don't know what I might have done wrong there. I just had trouble just where that point was, just where there was the one stitch different. Once it went into a few more stitches, I didn't find it as challenging. And the square came out okay. So that one was a bit of a challenge for me. And then I really enjoyed this. I think a few said they didn't really love it, but I loved it because I do like doing puff stitches and popcorns and bubbles. That one I really loved, and I really enjoyed all of the snowflake ones, even though, you know, that one there was a real challenge, Crystal Beauty. But I liked it. I didn't like doing that one, Frosty Night, and that's the one that sort of buckled a little bit of mine. So maybe my tension on the double crochets was a bit looser than on the popcorns. But the rest of them, even that star one, I really enjoyed. Polaris, really enjoyed that one. And I loved this Frosty Web. That was very challenging, actually. And I remember when I bought the book, I think I went, before the crochet along started, I think I went straight to that square and tried it because it was winter last year when I actually started. So I sort of went 48 weeks into the year, and I thought I'll start with that one and then just keep going around. But then Jenny from In My Spare Time Crochet started her crochet along, and she started from the beginning of the book, so I just jumped onto that then. But I did start with that one, Frosty Web, and it was so challenging I just couldn't do it. But once I worked through all the other squares and you learn all the different techniques, when I came back to do that one, let me just see if I can find it. Where is it? Here. When I came back to do it, I didn't find it hard at all. It was actually really quite simple and easy to follow. And I love doing, like, you know, the little white flecks through there. I figured out how to do that from following the pattern. So Kylie's instructions are very clear. I think if you're a beginner crocheter and you start with the simple ones first and then just sort of work your way through the book, Even that one, Snow Tracks, really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think Frosty Web is probably one of my favourites. And yeah, I don't like the look of that. It kind of reminds me, it says semicircle, but I don't know. Just sort of looks like an icon or a flag or a symbol to me. Yeah, I don't know what that one was about, but what it's got to do with winter, except for the colours. But anyway, it wasn't my favourite one, and I didn't like having to change colours there. Some of them, as I said, came out, and then, you know, you've got different ideas of what you can do. You can do all the squares in 1 or 2 different squares and make a blanket out of it. Yeah, have a look at the book. Some of the squares, as I said, were a bit smaller than others, and it recommended using a 4mm hook for all of them. I did follow that and just use a 4mm hook so that my tension would be consistent, but because of changing colours and changing textures, some of the squares did turn out smaller. So before I did the border around them, I sort of laid them on top of each other, and if there were any that were a bit bigger, I pulled out a row or added a row if they were smaller, so that all the squares are the same size, except for that one, which I said to you I'm not really happy with, which is this one. And I think it's just my tension when I carried along the white yarn across the back there. Well, I sort of hide it in between, but I carry it along from one row to the next to do the puffs, and it kind of maybe pulled in the purple. So I think once I block it and stretch it, it will be okay, but probably my tension's just a little bit off on that one. So yeah, that was my least favourite probably to do. So yeah, I'm really happy with that book and the Crochetalong. And keep following Jenny if you're doing your Crochetalong, or if you even want to start and follow it from the beginning, you can watch all her videos and just do 1 square a week. But yeah, I've just jumped ahead. So the other thing we did when I was down in Sydney, we went to 2 yarn shops. One of them was Skein Sisters, which I popped in some video footage in this video. I'll pop it in, then you'll see it. And beautiful yarn store. I've been wanting to go there for quite a few years. I can't remember when they opened, but I think pretty much when they opened, I thought if I ever get down to Sydney, I'll go and visit that. And our adult children moved to Sydney 2 years ago, and I still hadn't gone. So this time, it was a Saturday afternoon, I said to my son, please, can you just drive me to that yarn shop? And I didn't know if they would be open because it was the Easter long weekend, but they were. So that was really good. And I bought some yarn, Fiddlesticks Marble. I'm going to be making a blanket, and I'll pop in a photo of the blanket that I'm doing. I did look into getting the yarn pack from Wool Warehouse in UK, or even buying some yarn over here for it. But then when I saw this Fiddlesticks Marble, I just decided these are the colours that I want to get. So yeah, I got those from Skein Sisters, and I'm going to be making, I think it's called the Beach Walk blanket by Wool Thread Paint. Marion. I think her name is Marion. If you follow her on YouTube, her videos, I'm going to be making her blanket with that wool. So I've already started a couple of the squares, but then, I've tried to match the colours she's used. I think she's used a Yarn Smith pack and a Stylecraft Special DK pack. So I've sort of matched all the colours with the Fiddlestick Marble so that it will be looking very, very similar, except mine will be marbled and hers is probably not marbled. Yeah, because she's used the plain sort of solid colours. And the other yarn shop that we visited was Castle Handmade in Bowral. So I went there last year in November for the first time, and then my husband and I had our son's car for one day while we were down there. He had some work to do, and so he loaned us his car for the day. It was beautiful weather the whole week we were there, but as soon as we hit Bowral, it was pouring rain. I don't know why. It must just sit over. Bowral is in the Southern Highlands, and maybe it just sort of sits, the rain just sort of sits there. Because every time we've gone down over the last 2 years, it's rained for some reason. It's just bad timing for us, I think. So Castle Handmade, I didn't buy any yarn this time, but I did buy this book and another one which I've gifted to a friend. Who likes to do, one of my crochet ladies that comes here on a Monday, she likes to make flowers. So I found a cute little crochet flower book for her and some minis for some of the girls. And then I also bought a embroidery scissors and a holder, and this Tunisian crochet stitch dictionary, which I haven't looked at yet. I haven't even opened it, but I'm wanting to do some Tunisian crochet. I found some YouTube tutorials. I think Jill from Gumleaf Crochet and Yarn also does some Tunisian tutorials. So if I get stuck using this book, I will be watching her videos, her tutorials. But I picked up these leaves. Look, aren't they nice? Autumn leaves. We don't get these sort of autumn. I don't think these were maples. I think my husband said they were something else. Birch trees, I think they were. But they had the beautiful leaves that had dropped into the side of the road because it was raining so much. So I picked up a few. Actually, he picked them up for me. So I got a couple of dark red ones and some lighter coloured ones. And I dried them and just stuck them in this book for now. I think there's a couple more in here somewhere. I had 4 of them. Don't know where the other 2 are. Oh, there they are. There's a darker one again. And a lighter one. I'm not sure what I'll do with them yet, but I just like them. I'll probably stick them in a scrapbook or something. Anyway, so that's that book. I really want to learn that. I've only ever learnt the very plain Tunisian crochet stitch. And up until recently, I didn't realise there was different variations of Tunisian crochet stitches. But that's my next thing that I really want to explore after I finish a couple of other projects. So I thought I'll get that book. And I did get the Knit Pro Tunisian crochet hooks from Castle Handmade last time I was down there, last year. This time I picked up this book as well. All right, so that's just a couple of things that I wanted to tell you, and most of my video this time will be just a vlog of different things around our home, places that we went to visit, a little bit of me crocheting. Yeah, I just haven't had a lot of time to do video tutorials this month, And so maybe next month I'll do a little bit more. But I have, as I said, I've got something coming up in June that I need to focus my attention on during May so that I can get that finished by June. So yeah, it might be another month before I can do another proper tutorial. I'll see how I go anyway. Okay, so it was nice chatting with you all, and thank you for coming and watching. If I have time before the end of this month, I think there's only one more day to go, and this is sort of an April vlog, so I wanted to get all this in before the end of the month. If I have enough time, I will pop something else in for you. But just enjoy watching our garden and different things that are happening around here. We had a cyclone at the beginning of April. We had, actually no, the cyclone was in March, but we've had so much rain after it. Really, really heavy rain. And I think even while we were in Sydney last week, we had this beautiful sunny weather. It was still, the heavy rain was still here where we live on the Sunshine Coast. So now we've got the lovely autumn weather this week. We'll see how long that lasts. Hopefully from now through winter, we usually have really very mild, beautiful sunny weather and just nice cool mornings. And yeah, I love this time of year. All right, chat again soon, and hope you enjoy all your crafting and a nice cup of tea, which I'm going to have now in my beautiful lavender cup that my daughter got me. Okay, bye for now. So we were recently on holidays visiting our children interstate, and my daughter took me to some thrift shops. One of them in particular, I think it was called Savers in Western Sydney, and it's big, it's huge. It's like almost as big as a warehouse. and we picked up some wool cardigans or wool jumpers that were hanging there, and they had a 40% off day on Tuesday. So we were able to get these jumpers for $7 each. So they were adult-sized cardigans and jumpers, and I got 4. So I got one in cream. So you can see I've already wound that into a skein now. And then this one was a cardigan. My husband's wound that up. I've got some more balls in this bag here. So he frogged all of the balls for me while we were down there. I think that's the same yarn. Yeah, it is. So I think I've got enough with these 3 cardigans, plus the other one that I showed you before that I picked up from a thrift shop up here, probably to make a blanket. I did buy myself a new yarn winder. Don't look at that knot there. I'm just untangling it. It's the Knit Pro wool winder when I was down in Sydney at Castle Handmade in Bowral. So I bought that so that I can wind the balls up. And I've started doing that, but they're making me sneeze. So I'm realising that some of them, like this one, you can see it's got lots of little fibres in it. I don't know if there's any pet hair on it. It doesn't look like pet hair, it just looks like little fibres. But it's giving me allergies, so I'm going to skein them up again and then put them through the washing machine. So yeah, I've got all of these, and then there's a whole heap more in that bag there. And so there should be enough for a blanket. Plus, I think I had 5 from the last jumper that I made, and my daughter got some as well in brighter colours, but I wanted to make something in these colours. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, just skeining them up, and then I'm going to wash them, and then I'll rewind them again on the wool winder like that. So I've washed those 3 loads of wool that I had from those cardigans. And it's been such beautiful autumn weather now this week. So sunny. It's not hot, but it's nice and warm and sunny. And so it only took like less than an hour for it to dry on the line. So now I can just ball them all up again. And you can see I've got a few here already wound up. With my new yarn winder, which I'm really, really happy with. I love how it gives that sort of crisscross crosshatch pattern. And yeah, it's still got these fibres in it, which I don't know, suspiciously to me look like dog hairs, but I've talked to my husband and he said no. He said it's in the wool. It's part of the fibres. So sadly, when he pulled this one apart, he didn't check the label for me. So I know it's wool, but we didn't have a look at what kind of wool it was. Maybe it's got something else in it. But anyway, I'm happy with those, so I'll just keep winding. And then I'll weigh it and see how much wool I've got for $21. Yeah, $7 cardigan. And one of them was a jumper, a sweater, pullover, and the other 2 were cardigans. And I've kept the buttons as well, because I love buttons. And once I weigh it, we'll work out how much there is and what I can actually make. Might be able to make a nice big winter blanket out of it. Haven't thought about what sort of pattern I want to make. We'll have a look. But I do like the natural colours, and I love this green. This lovely, I don't even know what you call that green. It's not olive, it's sort of like a, anyway, I don't know. Can't think of the name of the colour now. A little bit tangled up here. So nice out in the garden. My husband's working in the garden, so I'll take you for a little tour in a minute. So let me show you what's been growing this past month. So this little area here in my sunroom, my husband got this tree branch off our bougainvillea, and I got him to hang it up there with some chain, because I had this Swiss cheese plant. I don't know the actual botanical name for it, But I had that during COVID, and it was only a small plant and it grew quite big, but then it died. I had it in the house and I think it didn't get enough light, but it's been out in the yard for the last 2 years and it's grown, and so I've been able to wind it up there. And this plant also had that in my daughter's room, and it wasn't going too good, so it needed a bit more light. Nice ivy and a devil's ivy. And this lovely old vintage, well, I guess it is vintage now. My mum made it back in the 70s or 80s. So it's vintage again, but it was made, when she made it in the design of a vintage jug and bowl. So I've got that sitting there as well in my sunroom. Just wanted to come out and have a look at these flowers because they've just bloomed since we were away on holidays on this vine. So it's growing up and over that structure and then down the other side, and there they are flowering again. And up there is our jade vine, which when that blooms, I'll be really excited this year because we got quite a few blooms last year. So hopefully we'll get plenty of them this year.